Welcome, everyone, to the Wise Women Forward podcast. And today we have a wonderful guest, Lydia M. Hawke. She's an author from Canada who writes stories in which women of a certain age save the world. Totally love them because they're like amazing witchy stories with women of our age in the wisdom and leadership time of their life. So Lydia believes that experience is the most powerful magic of all. Yes, it is. And her heroines don't wait to be rescued. They're witches, warriors, and wise women who've lived long enough to know their power and who aren't afraid to use it. When she's not writing, Lydia can be found spoiling her grandkids, wrangling her menagerie of pets, and convincing her garden to cooperate. I don't know that that's so easy. And her mission is reclaiming the word crone for what it truly is, a crown, not an insult. Welcome, Lydia. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I am delighted to be here.
So, sure. First of all, I want to say I'm so grateful for your books. I only just found them, and so found you. And I've only just started the first of one of your series, which is Becoming Crone. And I love it because I love the whole witchy sci-fi fantasy world. But quite often I'm having to follow a main heroine who is, if I'm lucky, somewhere in her 40s, and people of my age are the wizened old wise woman. So they're great, but they're like the side character. So I love following somebody who could be me being the main character.
That's exactly why I wrote these books, because I was approaching my 60th birthday and I was feeling very much like a side character in my own life. And I wanted something more. I was only 60. I wasn't done yet. And I had years and years ahead of me. And I wanted to do something with it. And I was tired, like you, of reading. There was a new subgenre of fiction that had come out, paranormal women's fiction. And it was featuring heroines. It was cutting edge for the time, heroines in their 40s. But, they were all raising teenagers, and they were, in a phase of life that I was done with. And I wanted to see myself in these stories. And then I started thinking, well, what if someone like me were to suddenly discover that she were magic at this age? And that was Becoming Crone. And I think that what you say about, you're grateful to me for writing these stories. I was so grateful to find my audience for these stories, because it just shows that there's so many of us out there and we are hungry for stories that center us. We deserve to be centered. We're far, far, far from done with life. We've got so much to bring to the table. And that's where the stories became Crone. I became Crone. The story and the characters helped me step into my own witchiness. And I love that for me. And I love that for all the women who are discovering the series.
I love that because that is how we made the film, right? 11 years ago, I was going through perimenopause and quickly into menopause and suffering through it. But the physiological, physical things I could deal with. I could find ways through it because of my nutritional background, etc. But the emotional dread of the fact that I felt like I was now being told that I was less relevant, less useful, less important, exactly at a time when I felt the exact opposite, which is why I turned to him and I said, help, please. And what were you doing at the time?
Oh, sure. I get to talk now.
Yeah.
We'll let you in now and again.
No, I was actually talking to some OBGYNs about a new menopause therapy. And so she said, well, why don't you ask them stuff about menopause? And when I did, I got the same responses that you guys get, which is just, oh, well, you're supposed to have been dead already, so we don't really know anything about it. I was wondering, about you writing these characters of Crone, right? One of the things I love about fiction, and when I get to write fiction, is that you create a world and then the world tells you what it wants. How is it for you finding the world that you created and having the women in it sort of tell you what they were? And how did that inform your writing and inform you?
I am a pantser from start to finish. I don't plot books. I've tried plotting. Plotting and I do not get along well. So for me, this particular series, the Crone Wars series, it was it felt very much like an exploration of what would happen if I were to discover my own magic. That there's a lot of me in my character of Claire, and there's a lot of all of my friends that I was talking to who were going through the same things. We talked about, having to step off the sidewalk because people just didn't see us. We had become invisible, and it was the most bizarre thing. And so I wanted my visibility back. And I think that was the backbone of the story. I wanted to be visible, and I wanted my power back. I wanted to reclaim the power that I had held to a degree throughout, being maiden and mother, and then, like all of a sudden my family was grown and I wasn't needed anymore. And I'd been shuffled off to the side while they lived their lives. And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. And that was the whole world came from that. It's like, if you've got this magic, you see, for me, magic and power are two very different things. Because I think magic is a part of power, but power is what is going to feed that magic too. You have to believe in your own power before you have any magic.
Well, that is kind of what magic is in a way, right? It's like the own, we call it spirit in a way, right? It's the sort of hearing the whispers, and magic happens if it's the right time, the right place, and then you do and say the right thing. That's kind of my definition of what it means. And so for us to inhabit that version of ourselves with the wisdom of age, and especially for our women to do that, is so valuable. I imagine that, this thing about you feeling marginalized or you feeling set aside, when did you start to notice that happening, and what kind of things were you like, oh, this is it, and you have to process that, and how did that come about for you, about sort of like, oh, I'm supposed to go away now?
Yeah, I think that it was probably into my late 50s that I really started to notice it. And I have three daughters. Two of them were married, and one of them had had her first baby. And we were entering into COVID. It was fun times. And my grandson had some difficulties at birth, was in the neonatal unit for a while. And for that first year with the COVID and so on, they did not want him in a daycare. So I was doing daycare part-time. And I think that the realization hit me about 6 months into this, that I had already raised my children, and I didn't want to be raising more children. And I wanted more. I wanted me. And I had given a lifetime to my family and my home. And it's just, I'd given a lot. And I had some books published. They were well received, but never really got off the ground, as so many authors find. And I wanted something different. I wanted something more. And I really, really, really wanted to take a chance on me. I wanted to invest in me. And so I started writing the Crone series, and I started talking about it on social media. And, all of a sudden I've got all of these people going, what now? And I'm like, I think I want to read that. And then I had the most gorgeous cover designed. And I mean, as soon as I posted the picture, it's like she's got gray hair. And she's the main character. She's going to save the world. And it's just like, yes, of course we're going to save the world. All of us are. We have the experience. We have the knowledge. We have so much to give. And it's
Well,
I think
Crohn's
I'm
made the
wondering.
world in the first place.
Exactly. So women who transitioned and their brain changed and their physiology changed, and they became the architects and the organizers of society in such a way to give the social complexity a kind of, to hold the social complexity and allow our brains to grow into the humans that we are. So to us, finding that science was like, for me, it was like breathing real air again and
Yes,
going, oh, wow.
I'm not crazy.
Exactly, right?
The
Because
world
you
is
know
trying
what
to tell me I'm crazy, but I'm not. Yes.
bingo, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to have these stories because we need to have all the women transitioning into this period, celebrating it and giving them the permission to go, I'm not crazy, and listening to
Yes.
their inner selves, right?
Yes. And fiction, I think, plays a strong role in that because in fiction, it's teaching us so much in the way of emotion and how we process things and being able to see ourselves in these stories, in the movies that the older actresses are directing and producing now. I mean, I love these women. I want to be in there with these women. I just bringing these stories to others so that they can see themselves and so that they know that no, they're not over. Life does not end at 60.
No,
No, it
End of
doesn't.
discussion.
bingo. It just starts a new phase that is super
Right.
important.
So when you were, you use the word crone, you want to rehabilitate the word crone. How do you find that's going, and what is your interpretation of the word crone?
My interpretation of the word crone, and I actually use this in the first book, Becoming Crone, when the gargoyle, the living, breathing gargoyle, I love Kevin, tells Claire that Crone is a wise woman and of power. And I'm like, well, yes, because that's what we are. Whether we hold or believe in actual magic or not, we are wise women of power. That is what Crone is. And the more I talk about it, I mean, I've started hashtag CroneLit on social media. I can't lay claim to having started it, but I took it and I ran with it. And I absolutely love that because the more books that we have about us, the more empowered we feel visible again. And visibility is key to feeling empowered. It really is. Because if we're not seen, there's very little power there.
Yeah, and in your books, Claire is, well, saving the world, but she's not the only, she gives power, she like exudes power to other women in her age group, etc. Do you see that in real life we need more elder women voices, wise women voices?
Absolutely. Women upholding women is honestly, that is the most powerful thing that we have. It's one another. It's raising one another up and letting one another be visible and making one another visible. That power, that sisterhood, that support network of women. And I would like to see it just trickling down to women who are younger as well, because I'm sorry, but society has done a real number on the young female mind by thinking that she's got to be in competition with all the others. And I mean, high school was not and is not, and it's not fun, and it's really, really hard, and it should not be that way. And I think that social media is one of those double-edged swords because it brings out the worst in people, but it has also allowed I think particularly women, to connect in ways that we never have before, because we're realizing now that this is a global thing. And I have readers from around the world, and I've got a Facebook reader group. I call it a reader group, but that's very, very loose because it's called Crone's Unleashed. And these women have taken, from around the globe, have taken ownership of this group. I've got an administrator who, runs it from Australia, and she's phenomenal. They're all phenomenal because they all think the same way. They're all done with the nonsense. They're all stepping up and speaking out, and we laugh together and we support one another. And that's all part of it too. I mean, we have to laugh together. We have to support one another. We have to cry together, because that together, that's the key part. And knowing that we have, right, that sisterhood. And it's everything. Claire's best friend, Edie, in this book. And I mean, like the other women that she encounters through the series have such a role to play. Even the ones that don't want to be there, step up and play a role, because when it comes down to it, they know that this is where it matters. This is it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Lydia, did you actually get to see the movie Wise Women?
Do you know, I am so sorry. I would like to say yes, because it was on the agenda for this last weekend.
Oh, it's fine.
And then family life kind of fell apart this last couple of weeks.
Okay, so then
don't worry about it, because then you just have something exciting to
I am so excited.
So that's cool, because in the movie, we actually have a whole section that's based from the language anthropologists on how language was turned as a weapon in early modern Europe to try to suppress the power of women. So the words like witch and hag and crone, they're all covered. So that's something for you to look forward to.
Where the witch trials and all of that was really just a gynocide, because it was older women who owned land or who had wisdom and knowledge of herbology, etc.
Who had any kind of power over the community or control or in any influence.
Influence, because that's the point. They didn't rule, but people went to them because they did good for the community.
Well, something that I've come across on I watch Facebook Reels and Instagram, and there's a lot of very, very, very smart feminist women out there, and they talk about how a matriarchy it's not about a reversal of power. Because a matriarchy is not about holding power. It's about, looking after the children and the environment and the community and all of the people. It's not about a power grab. Feminism is not about a power grab. So the patriarchy, they got it all wrong, because they want to stay in control.
Well, in fact, Jane Caputi, who is the professor who talks about language, she actually says the patriarchy is over. It just doesn't know it yet.
I like that. And I'm afraid that it's going to go down kicking and screaming and make our lives very uncomfortable. But I agree with her, because I'm seeing a shift. And again, I think social media is playing a huge role in that, because it's connecting these women. I mean, we haven't had these channels of conversation before. We were fed the news through the standard news outlets, and if it wasn't reported, we didn't hear about it. And now, I mean, pen pals, but that was a really slow process. So this is huge. And I think that this is the beginning of the end for them. Yes, I love that. I agree.
That. Another thing that we have in the movie, and you'll see, is we have a wonderful author of a book called The Bonobo Sisterhood interviewed how bonobos have taken away sexual coercion.
They haven't taken away, it's just never occurred.
It never occurred. It doesn't happen because the females come together. If a female is being aggressed, she makes a sound, ee, 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 And any female, whether they know her or related or even like her, come to the aid.
Wow. And that's it. That's the power, right? That's the power. Whether you like the person or not, no, just
and I
no.
Exactly.
But I would offer also, we're stuck using terrible words like power because we're in a patriarchy. Because it's not the power, it's natural. It's natural to not have males capable of sexual coercion of females for our, living the way we evolved, right? And it's like I just keep thinking about how we're stuck using these completely crappy patriarchal words. And we were even conversing about how the patriarchy is really a cult, and we're all indoctrinated into the cult from birth. And we kind of need to have the humility to consider that we're deprogramming ourselves from a cult. And it was like she talked about something that came up that we're considering, and it's like she realized another way she was just totally gaslit. And just like a couple of weeks ago, we've been doing this for 10 years, right? So, how do we get rid of the patriarchal cult?
It's difficult because I know that I am working on deprogramming myself as well. And I noticed it with my daughters having children. I have 4 grandkids now. It's awesome. But I noticed that I once in a while I would catch myself, they would be having a hard time with X, Y, or Z, small children, they're difficult and it's hard and you're tired. And I would catch myself thinking things like, well, I lived through it. Why should you have it easier? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Progress comes from having it easier, making changes, doing things differently. I didn't have to do things exactly the way my mother did or my grandmother. And so, no, ask for help, speak out, be different, say no. That's where the change occurs. And that's where women of a certain age need to step up and get behind these younger women and say, no, you're right. Everybody whines about the millennials and so on. I think millennials are awesome because they are saying no to the ridiculous work week and the work ethic that the patriarchy decided was, and it was the patriarchy, make no mistake, it was the patriarchy who decided those long work weeks and minimal vacations and everything else. Sorry, I'm just shoving a cat back into his bed on my desk.
That's all right.
So he's curled up again. He likes to come out and visit.
Good.
But yeah, that empowering the younger generation to step up and make a difference and supporting them in doing it and not going, well, it was harder for me. I don't know what you're complaining about, because nonsense. Our job is not to make it hard for them or as hard. Our job is to step in and support them in making it better, because that's how we move forward. And that's how we break the patriarchy.
I love that. And I've just lately gone through something with our daughter who decided to switch up what she was going for career-wise because she wanted something that would allow her to be a mom, which she's always wanted to be, younger, right? So she wants to be a mom by her late 20s instead of me at 42 because I was career driven first, blah, blah, blah. And I remember back then saying that the whole system is backwards. Younger women who want to have children should be supported to do that and then supported to come back into the workforce when their children are, more in school and they want to. And when Gaia did this initially, I was like, and I started thinking, yeah, but you've got to think career. And I was like, wow, am I following the patriarchal BS that I was given?
Yeah. But this is the whole key to feminism, because feminism is about choices. And I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And, I loved that. And now that I am of retirement age and all of my friends who had careers and families are retiring, I'm like, yeah, no. But for me, it's about choice. It's like, I like to call myself a late bloomer in the career department, but that's okay. Whatever path you choose is okay and should be supported, because we're all different. We're all individuals, and trying to fit us all into these little boxes, we've seen how well that works. It does not. It results in a whole lot of very unhappy people. And again, I think that the patriarchy kind of likes it that way, because unhappy people are a lot easier to control, right?
Oh, for sure.
Wow.
There is stuff in the movie that talks about the brain changes that you go through
Oh,
and how your brain literally rewires itself to be a better leader. So you're expressing a lot of cool stuff. This is a good commercial for people to watch the movie, including you. We
And
didn't
to read
intend
her
on
books
that.
because,
right?
because it's both are saying the same
Yeah,
thing.
right.
It's the celebration of women going through this transition
Exactly.
and
yes.
gaining their witchiness, right? Their
Yes.
wisdom,
Yep.
their kind of more directive decision making, all of that.
So
Claiming their power.
Yeah,
We are
exactly right.
claiming our power.
So before we wrap up, I want to, you touched a little bit on moving forward, and that's why we call our Substack
Yes.
Wise Women Forward, because the patriarchy is good at making us look backwards and get stuck what happened before, but it's forward that changes us. One other notion that we are trying to do as a hashtag is when wise women lead. Right. And it's it's another version of forward, and it's to imagine the world when wise women lead. You had an example of one that you used, right?
Yeah. When wise women lead, my daughter can walk through a dark parking lot safely.
Oh, right.
Yeah. When wise women lead, equal salaries are not a dream, but a reality. All those things.
And when wise women lead, just absurd toddler men wouldn't be starting wars and without any oversight, right? It's like
That's a whole other conversation.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
so
yes.
does anything spring to mind for you? I know I'm putting you on the spot. It's just like and again, it's like we wanted to keep this hashtag and we can just do that, but is there anything that jumps to mind that you would like when wise women lead?
When wise women lead, the earth stands a chance.
Oh my God. Tears.
Yeah, because right now I'm like, so yes, we need to step up, and that patriarchy needs to fall, and the matriarchy needs to take the lead, because we need us. We need us.
Wow, wonderful.
Oh my God. It's beautiful.
Oh,
So
thank
before
you.
we close, is there anything that we should have asked you that we didn't? Anything you want to cover? Or
I don't think so. This was a fantastic conversation. I can't believe it's over already. I could talk to you two forever.
and we will. I feel like we've now formed a friendship that will be forever.
Oh, this is marvelous. And
Okay.
that movie, yes, it's like I said, we've got a daughter that's going through a rough time right now, and so we're just like there because we're parents, and because woman supporting woman, and I mean her dad is fantastic, and we just stepped in and shored everybody up,
Awesome.
and things are looking better, and I can
Good.
breathe. I can breathe again.
Yay.
Well, we wish you and your family the best. And for our listeners, absolutely look into the books.
Links will be in the description
exactly.
below.
Links will be in the
Our
description.
movie is Wise Women, Humanity's Untold Origins. Then there'll be a link to the website in the description as well. So thank everyone for joining us, and tune in next time for another podcast.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.